Hey, it's time for the Twice Removed podcast with Linda and Gina, where we talk about all things genealogy, including making connections with long-lost relatives while snooping in on our ancestors. Hey, it's good to know where you come from. Well, hey, everybody, we are back at Twice Removed, our little genealogy podcast with Linda, who's over there.
I'm over here.
Over there. And Gina, who's over here.
She's over there.
And we got a good one today. I'm kind of excited about this one. Are you?
Yeah, because it's food related, so naturally.
It's personal, though. It's all about food and travel to your ancestral places.
Yeah.
I would be the first one on the plane.
Do you know where you'd go exactly?
Italy, yeah. Palermo. We're from Palermo, and Alcamo, which is Sicily too, next to Palermo. So, of course, Italy, if I could. You know, it's so funny that even though you're a mixed bag of things, you always tend to lean toward one ethnicity that you are. And that one is it for me. I love it. I love the food. I love the culture. I love the music. I love everything about it.
Yeah, generally be the one that you're pushed into the most too, and you have the most exposure.
Well, how about you? Where would you want to go?
Well, I probably would want to go to Norway because I haven't been there yet, but I've been to Sweden, and my father was born in Norway, and we only went to Sweden because that's where my grandfather lived, and there was nobody else left. So,
okay, but is that like a plethora of fish dishes or something?
Yeah, and really good bread.
I don't know if I'd be... Oh, okay. Well, I could make it on the bread. I'm not a fish girl. So.
And cheese and... Yeah.
So basically pizza.
Sure.
There we go.
Yeah, it was like normal food, you know. But Norway, because, you know, I haven't seen that and where my father was born and all that, and that's kind of cool.
Did you have any, like, Norwegian dishes passed to you that you make, or...
I don't know if it is a Norwegian dish or not, but my father's cousin's mother, who would be like my grandmother age, you know, at the time when she was alive and I was a little kid, but she had this really great spice cake, and I don't think it was Norwegian for some reason, but it was just really good, and that's the only thing I remember. I didn't have anybody cook Swedish or Norwegian food for me growing up, so I wouldn't know.
So you don't do it now? You don't try it? Or have you tried it?
I have tried to replicate this bread that I had that was almost cake-like when I was a kid visiting Sweden. And the recipe does not exist for what I'm looking for. It may have been more of a cake than a bread, but it had cardamom in it, and it's just really nice and sweet and spicy at the same time.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they had something similar to it over in Solvang. If anybody's been to Solvang in Southern California, it's a little Danish town. And, you know, Denmark and Norway and Sweden, they're all in this little tiny cluster. So it's like, you know, you have them going back and forth all the time. So a lot of the food's really similar. But they had cardamom bread there. So that was nice.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So I've had it in California within the last 10 years.
Now, was that bread just a tasty little treat, or was it for a holiday or a special?
It's just normal everyday thing. You know, it was kind of like if you put a little spice into challah bread. It's very similar. It's kind of like that, only not yellow. It's just, you know, it's kind of got that same sweet, only has like a little spice added to it. If you know what cardamom is, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that's a favorite. But on the German side, and I've made these, my mom and I figured out the recipe on our own because we didn't have one. It's not necessarily in cookbooks. She didn't have it in her cookbook, but it's called a Dampfnudel. And basically Dampf translates to steam, and noodle can either be a noodle or a dumpling. So what these are is they're like little yeast breads. And, you know, like when you have a pizza dough in a ball, it's about that size when you cook it. So you take those and you let them rise to about that size, and then you stick them into a, you know, like a black, one of those black iron
skillets,
crock pot thingies with the lid. They're really deep. What are they? What are those called? A Dutch oven or something?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Like a Dutch oven, like the iron kind. If you are lucky to have one of those. And you just put like some oil in there, and you put the balls in there, and you let them get fried, and you put a little salt on the bottom so they have that nice little savory thing to them. And you let them go, and then you add water, and then you cover it.
Well, what time do we need to come over to try
We
those?
need to make those, right?
All right.
Yeah, they're really good. So then you'd have that with like potato soup or lentil soup or something like that. But they're regional. And also they make like a vanilla sauce for them, like a sweet sauce. But I never had it like that. It was like, no, this is more of a savory thing for me.
How did I miss those?
They're good. They're good.
Sounds like it.
And, they sell them at like, they have a lot of festivals in Germany. And that's one thing that I like to go to, like over the summer and into the fall. Like they'll have a pretzel fest where they just have soft pretzels. And of course, there's a beer tent and all the music and everything.
Gosh.
Yeah. So there's that.
The bloating, but it would be worth it.
Yeah. Who needs the beer? Just give me the pretzels.
Right.
And so they have a festival like that. And then there'll be a town nearby that maybe has an asparagus festival that would probably be April. And they have that white asparagus in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
And
get that veggie in.
Yeah. And you know how they make them white? It's not like they're any different. This is what I heard, is that they cover them and they grow like that in the dark and they don't get green. So they don't have that bitterness to them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can't find them here that easily. Sometimes they're supposed to be white, but by the time you find them here, they're yellow. And it's just like the wine festivals, like when they have the new wine, and then they'll have like a big party around that. And then they have all these little stands where they sell like Lebkuchen, which is like a gingerbread, and nuts with the sugar on them, like the like burnt almonds, only whatever, pecans or whatever, walnut, whatever. And then they'll sell dumpf noodles sometimes like that from those stands too. And then they have another thing that my family made back in the 1900s. My mom actually worked with them, so it must have been in the 30s, early 30s or so. She was probably a kid, maybe 10 or so. But they made this thing that was like a confection, and it's like a cream kiss is what it translates to. And it's like a little wafer that is kind of like a sugar cone wafer, and then this really, really soft, fluffy filling that's like a marshmallow, only it's not sticky, it's just fluff, like air.
Wow.
And then they dip it in chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Yeah.
We need a field trip.
Yeah. So those, they don't travel well. I've had them sent, but they used to sell them over in the Alpine Village in Torrance before they closed recently. Darn it.
Yeah.
But you could get them over the holidays and whatever. So that's the kind of stuff I would be road tripping for in Germany. I would be going to find like some of the other towns that I'm finding in my family tree research. Like it's not just the town that they're in now. It's clearly like all over Germany. And just go and explore and try to find maybe some old addresses and find the houses. And I've got this one picture that was like a watercolor that I still don't know who made it or who had it made or anything like that. But it was my mother's house that she grew up in with her family. And I know the address. They changed the name of the street and everything, but I know where it is. I asked my cousin. She said, "Oh yeah, it's still there. It's now Seekutstrasse. It's not like Worth Street anymore." So, okay. Cool. But it's still there.
You could Google Earth it maybe and see it.
And you know what came up was the stuff across the street from it. Because I think it's residential, so they don't show it, but the commercial across the street they did. So the house is still there, supposedly. So stuff like that. And, it's like I'd been there when I was a kid, because it was like around the corner from where my grandparents lived when I was a little kid. And so we'd been there before. But, going around, and you can just get on the trains and just go anywhere. And just say, okay, well, now we're going to go to Heidelberg this week and check that out and see who used to live there and find their addresses and have some food there and whatever. It's fun.
They have been saying that Ancestry travel is up at an all-time high and stuff, and people are doing those trips and getting their, package together and heading over to their ancestries and being able to see more things and try new things and be a part of it. Just it fills you up in your heart more to be able to walk in those footsteps a little bit.
It is. And then sometimes too, it's good to go because you can't find all of the documents that you want. So if you go to the hometown and you can read the language, fortunately I can, but it's still the handwriting that's a mess. Probably have to bring a cousin with me, one of my older ones who might know some of the older script, because there's four old scripts in German. And good thing I have this little AI app that I can scan stuff with, and it's not always right, but it's close. And it can guess some things, but if you have to go to the town archive and dig some stuff up like that, that's a good time to do it. But you have to kind of prove that you're sort of related somehow, like maybe show them your family tree on your phone, or I don't know. I'm not really sure what they would require. I don't know what they could tell from like a 6th generation name or something.
Yeah, it's true.
Because that stopped. I don't know. On both sides, I don't think my family name is still the same.
It's amazing how it evolves.
Yeah. So, but that's what I would do. And, it's time to start traveling again.
Yeah.
People have been.
Yep, for sure.
So, but what else? What kind of food is your favorite, and what would you be chasing?
I'm on the Italian, and we have a celebratory holiday on March 19th, and it's the Feast of St. Joseph Day, San Giuseppe Day. My grandparents were the first ones to have it in LA. They brought it over from Italy with those pizza pans, no doubt. And it was that the Sicilians were very poor and they had a famine, and they prayed to St. Joseph because they needed rain. And they said, if we get rain, then we will, promise to, feast you and stuff and celebrate you. And they got rain and they had a bumper crop harvest. Mm-hmm. So they have these altars or tables, and they fill it with every kind of food imaginable except no meat. And they don't use meat, or they don't use dairy. And so they'll do a special pasta Milanese sauce that has sardines in it. And Yum. I don't eat that because that's fish. And I do no fish since being a 5-year-old and finding a bone in my McDonald's fish burger. And that was the end of it for me.
Wow.
Yes, that's all it took.
No more adventure after that.
No. And instead of Parmesan cheese, they use breadcrumb.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that. So it's wonderful. They have a dessert called pignolata or strafoli if you're from the northern part of Italy. And basically it's fried dough with honey on it. And it's so plain. And Sicilian stuff since it was so poor, it's very simple. Things are simple. I mean, my mom would always say, oh, well, we had hard-boiled eggs with our suku, our spaghetti sauce, because they couldn't afford to have meatballs. Meatballs were for the rich people. So, but that's what I eat in mine, because I don't eat meat. But I mean, I like the hard-boiled eggs in it. And I've passed that on to my wife now, who likes that in hers too. So it's just the simple stuff. And pizza, of course. And you always make extra dough and you fry it up and put some sugar on it. And it's called caciot. So that was the little dessert that you look forward to if you have some leftover pizza dough. So it's intriguing to see how resourceful everyone was and still bring this beautiful feast together year after year and stuff. And they'd have, people act as the saints and all this stuff. So it's just a wonderful tradition, and we've still kept it going. We've kept it going. My mom's probably the second oldest one left of the elders, and so she usually puts out a table. And you just invite everyone, and you get donations, and it goes to the poor to feed the poor. And her church has done it with her and stuff like that. So,
do you make your own pasta?
No, nope. We don't go that far. We have, but it's just the pignolata in itself is work and everything else. But and the pizza dough is we make our own pizza dough. We don't buy pizza dough. And we used to make our own sauce with crushing the tomatoes, but we'll fake it and get some good canned sauce, some Cento pizza sauce.
You're not going to set up like a barrel and throw tomatoes in it and stomp around like Lucy?
That would be wonderful to do. I would do that. I would love to go stomp on some wine grapes.
That's why they call them tomatoes.
Oh, but there we go. And then on my Jewish side, I'm a freak for matzo ball soup. I love it. My mom will make chicken stock, and I'll make some matzo balls. But absolutely love matzo ball soup. And we had a family recipe book that one of the older cousins wrote, and there was a interesting, delicious recipe for string beans and leeks. Ooh. And it's really simple. It's only got like 4 or 5 ingredients, but oh my god, it's so good. So good. So
that's one thing that you can get in Europe, like different vegetable dishes, and the produce there is different, and it's fresher. I'm a freak for string beans anyways, so it's like, that just hits me good. And being so picky, it's nice to have these like comfort foods. So if you were to do an ancestral travel for the Jewish side, it's interesting when it's Ashkenazi Jewish. It's like, where do you start? Where do you know? How do you know? I mean,
I know my great-grandparents came from Kyiv, but I don't think I'd want to go there at this time because of what's happening. But it would be nice because nobody has gone back further than that. So, and being of a Cohen descent that's supposed to be, next to God, the high priest name and stuff, it would be interesting to follow it. I've had a lot of people find out that that's my last name on my, on the Jewish side. And I've had guys bow down and kiss my hand. And it's like, hello. And they're like, oh, no, it's a Cohen thing. It's the Cohen. Nope. And stuff. So it's pretty amazing what you find out.
Yeah. Cause it's like I was looking at where that region would be, and it goes from like Russia all the way into Germany and right into where my people are from in Germany. And I don't have any trace of Jewish in me, but it rinses out sometimes.
Kissing cousins. you never know.
You never know, but it's possible that it was the same place, and like the town that my mother's from.
Wouldn't that be totally fascinating if our family and your family like crossed paths?
You never know.
Sat in the same restaurant, or was at the same beach or something. That would just be a trip and a half.
It's happened.
It has.
Yeah, people do that. They find each other in photos, like when they've gone to Disney or something, and there's somebody in the background, and it's like their spouse or whatever, like 30 years before.
See, so. It's a small world after all.
And it was a smaller world. It was a smaller world back then too, so it wasn't that unusual to have something like that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we should really start doing like a recipe exchange here for some of the stuff. We should have that posted.
Oh yeah, if anybody of our listeners have like some good recipes from their ancestry, please let us know and send it.
Yeah, we'll start a blog post, and maybe we'll just have them up there, and then people can add their stuff onto the blog as like just.
That would be great.
Yeah,
and that you can find that at twiceremoved.net.
Yeah,
so visit us and bring your recipes.
Yeah. All right, so
we should get all of our blog guests together and stuff, and have a big potluck. Bring our favorite dishes together.
Virtual potluck.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that would be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, you guys.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Bon appetit.
The Twice Removed podcast is produced by Linda Anderson and Gina Glass. All opinions expressed are of our own and of our guests. For more information and upcoming guests, please visit our website, twiceremoved.net.